just given the expectations of what ultimately fans felt, he had a little bit of a guilty complex about it, and he really wanted to give him something back, and it delivered. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be as good as Triple G Canelo in 3 weeks. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we saw the most amazing.
Once I get it going, I'm fine.
This time, but it should matter that you're letting 49-0 versus 0-0 go in there. It should matter that you lower the weight of the gloves. In the end, it didn't look that mattered a whole lot, but it was a Floyd fight in the end. That's why he won. Let the guys. Conor's a fast starter, and Floyd is a slow starter, but a great, thorough finisher. And that's what you got today. Let me say something here. We've got plenty of analysis left to go. My name is Luke Thomas, of course, if you're just joining me. Give me a tweet at LThomasNews. At LThomasNews. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read your tweets and answer your questions here in real time. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel below. I really appreciate that. Let's talk about Paulie Malignaggi for just a second. Before the main event, I got to tell you, after that, I'll be honest. I thought after that video when he appeared to tell Mayweather, what he learned from Conor, and then to call everyone suckers, in his words, I thought that was a moment that Showtime should have used to potentially consider removing him from the pay-per-view broadcast. All that stuff before, picking a beef with Conor, I didn't care because that just sells fights, But that one rubbed me the wrong way. But I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit too. I had a little bit of hard time hearing the commentary because of the crowd nature that was here before. He did a good job. He did a good job all the way up to the main event. I'm like, well, obviously the main event is different given the stakes and given his involvement. But he did a good job. I didn't think he was, massively biased in some kind of awful, terrible way. And he did give Conor credit for the most part, from what I can tell. I mean, here's my point. Nothing egregious stood during the commentary that I thought was really, really problematic. Now, I'm going to go back and listen. I'll watch this fight again just to make sure. So this is a little bit conditional, but I didn't see a... And the interesting, I thought it was... is the Mayweather versus McGregor post-fight special. My name is Luke Thomas. I am, of course, the host of the Luke Thomas Show on SiriusXM Rush Channel 93, and I'm the senior editor at MMAfighting.com. I'm the host of a number of podcasts over there. Thank you so much for joining me. Normally, we don't have any spoilers, or we try to avoid spoilers anyway. with our content, but this is such a huge fight, I thought it wouldn't really necessarily matter. So this is going to be my post-fight special. As you can see, I'm in the media tent. Man, am I the only one here? Not many. I'm in the media tent here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The rest of the media has gone to the team of the post-fight presser. I really don't care about that. So here I am talking to you guys to get this done. Mayweather-McGregor has just ended. And before we get going, let me just say, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so we can have a lot of more opportunity to take those, to do more stuff like this. Okay, so what can we say? If you're just joining us or somehow you missed it, Floyd Mayweather wins by TKO in the 10th round. I don't have exactly the time, but it was a stoppage along the ropes. McGregor was not knocked down. He didn't get stretched or anything like that. He was just simply overwhelmed and was defenseless. In the post-fight interview with Jim Gray, he indicated it was mostly fatigue and that he wasn't actually being like super damaged. And of course, McGregor was very clear and did not appear to be badly concussed in any kind of way. But we don't know that, or the referee doesn't know that when he's watching. When he's watching, he has to simply say, is this fighter defending themselves or not? And especially when you've got a glove change, and especially when you've got this 49-0 versus 0-0, you got to begin to make some choices about how you do that. So I thought it was a good stoppage, and I understand McGregor's point. I think it's well taken. I don't think he took some savage beating to the point where he's going to be like permanently damaged or something like that. But I understand his complaint while also understanding the referee's obligation. That being said, let me take a step back and say something about this fight. Number one, it was a great fight. Great fight. I really enjoyed it. I actually thought that all the things matched up like it needed to. Floyd is the guy who's got all the experience in boxing. Conor doesn't in terms of professional boxing, right? Conor's got all the youth. Floyd doesn't. Conor has all the size and the power. Floyd doesn't. But Conor's got the interesting angles and the interesting, I thought his jab really surprised me tonight. My point being is this. What an absolute combat athlete Conor McGregor is. To have the balls to do this. And not only that, to really prepare, have an interesting game plan, have some success at least early with that game plan, and to go and to do this and perform as ably as he did. I think certainly my whole position was Mayweather by decision, but I thought the first 4 to 6 rounds were going to be interesting. And even though I thought that, I would still say Conor McGregor over-delivered on a lot of people's expectations. People who said he wasn't going to win rounds, dead wrong. He easily took the first 3 rounds and a couple more after that, maybe depending on your perspective. Although, according to the Showtime broadcast, all 3 judges at the time of the stoppage, to varying degrees, had Mayweather winning. But nevertheless, first 3 rounds, no question. Maybe even the 4th round, too. McGregor absolutely did a phenomenal job. And I got to say, McGregor found a way to make Floyd Mayweather exciting, right? Pretty incredible that Floyd Mayweather, by the end there, was walking Conor McGregor down. He never walks anybody down. He was headhunting for a bit. So here's my thought. Mayweather kept his word. He actually did go for the KO. He actually did march forward. That is shocking. Conor McGregor did have a good game plan. Absolutely was not intimidated. Showed up here, tried to do something interesting. And in the end, it worked. It worked. Am I saying that's the greatest boxing match I've ever seen? No, I'm not suggesting that. Am I saying it's the most important boxing fight I've ever seen? I'm not saying that. But how can you not watch something like that and say to yourself that Conor McGregor absolutely did something pretty spectacular here? How can you watch that and not say something like, or not believe that Floyd Mayweather fought totally out of character, or at least later on fought totally out of character, and gave the fans what they were looking for? I mean, you got to be happy with this. You got to be happy with this. And look, they can this. I really thought going into this fight, I was like, man, I don't know. If Floyd gets knocked out, it's terrible for boxing. If Conor is made to look terrible, that's bad for MMA. And I was just really worried about this. In the end, except for the gamblers should have made a bet on a McGregor ticket, and I don't think they bet. If you look at the bets in Vegas, they're all small bets. Nobody loses here. Floyd comes away with the 50th win. He looks good. He gets paid. Conor takes losses better than anyone in combat sports. I'm not saying he has a bunch of them, but when he loses to Nate Diaz, he shows up to that press conference in an excellent suit, and he answers every single question. And when he lost here, he answered all of Jim Gray's questions. And I understand he had some, concerns about the stoppage itself, and okay, that's fine. But I guarantee you, he's going to talk to the media after this, and he'll answer every one of their questions. And he won't make excuses for the performance. In fact, he was noting, the speed so much wasn't an issue. I thought Conor was matching Floyd's speed early on, at least in those early first few rounds. Very, very, very impressed by that. So that was kind of interesting. And then I just want to sort of stay on this before we get to the nitty-gritty details of the fight itself. I'm just very, very, very impressed by both guys. Very impressed by both guys. And how many people there were getting sweaty palms after the first 3 rounds? Conor took them easily. Conor took them absolutely easily. No doubt, first 3 rounds. And again, you can even argue the first 4 rounds were all his. And there was a couple other ones that he may have taken as well. So, people who were saying Conor wasn't going to land a glove on him, hashtag Max Kellerman, I don't know what you're talking about. And people said he couldn't win rounds. It would be a 12-round blowout. I don't know what you're talking about. Conor McGregor absolutely did what he was supposed to do tonight to the best of his ability and the best of his experience. So why did Floyd Mayweather win? Right? Ultimately, Floyd Mayweather got the W. And even if you thought, one last thing, everyone's like, Floyd has no power. I'm not saying Floyd's got a ton of power, but he's accurate. And when he wants to stick it to somebody, he can. And all the rest of the media is going to the media or the T-Mobile arena. And when he wants to stick it to you, he can. All the boxers kept saying that his punches will get your attention. Now, Conor was saying he wasn't necessarily hurt, but I mean, if that had been, continued, he might have gotten hurt, and that's what you want to, really seriously hurt, and that's what you want to avoid. So, people who are underestimating Floyd's ability to stop somebody, there's a bit of a reckoning that I think they have to make here as well. Okay, but let's talk about this. Why did Floyd win? Ultimately, one, they got the stoppage, but it's not what I mean. What I mean is, it looked to me that this was the most impressive thing about Conor. Everyone was talking about the angles, and he did a little stance switching, catching Mayweather at the end of a movement in a circle in a certain direction, and that was kind of impressive. It's very Max Holloway does that in MMA. He'll pushes you one direction, and as you turn it, then he switches and catches you with the hook on the outside. Conor had some success with that early. Mayweather took that away late, but what it looked like early was Mayweather was very surprised, I think, by not only the length that Conor was giving, which was very, very problematic, but in MMA, Conor doesn't use much of a jab. He backs opponents up with teeps or spin kicks or something like that, and then unloads the left hand of death on him. In this one, I was very impressed by his jab. Very impressed by his jab. People were wondering, how is this going to change Conor's game? Is he going to be able to do all the things when he's been doing when he goes back to MMA? Looks to me like he has a jab now. Looks to me like that's something he added in this whole process that he's going to be able to take back to MMA. And then a jab in a number of ways. First of all, he was connecting with it hard, so they had some pop to it, at least early. And then beyond that, he was sort of flicking it out and staying busy with it. In other words, finding a way to set up attacks for the left hand ultimately. So, acting as a decoy or some kind of a blocking mechanism. So I was absolutely impressed by that, to be totally honest. And of course, the left hand was there. The volume of work was kind of interesting. But Mayweather, threw 4 punches in the first round, 6 punches in the second round. I don't have the CompuBox numbers in front of me, but that's sort of what it looked like. I mean, it looked like that he wasn't doing a lot. He even admitted to Jim Gray after the fact that the direct TV thing is super loud. You can't see it, but there's TVs everywhere. He just didn't have a ton of volume early. No real volume. And eventually began to put more on it. And what I noticed from him is, man, what do you talk about when you talk about Floyd Mayweather? Why does Floyd Mayweather win? Number one, he's got amazing energy conservation, right? He knows exactly how to manage himself over the course of challenges or when he's hurt or whatever the case. And 2, he makes adjustments. Conor did what you're supposed to do to Floyd. Floyd's going to win the majority of the later rounds. So you need to win the majority of the early rounds and hope you can find a way to maybe steal one late or something. Conor had the right game plan in terms of that. But what I noticed from him was early on, going to the body, and then later really chasing him upstairs.